Hi traders, welcome to Elite Currency. My name is Chris. Today's video is on how to become a successful Forex trader without 10,000 trading hours. Let's dive into the topic right now. So, how long does it take? Well, the fact is that the path is not a guaranteed level of time invested. It's basically not something that happens overnight. Obviously, that is just gambling and that is misinformation if someone says that. But does it require 10,000 hours? Well, who knows? It could be 8, it could be 7,000, it could be 5, it could be 12. It also depends on other factors. We don't think using 10,000 as a guideline makes sense because you'll be just aimlessly trying to acquire hours without using it in the right purpose. It is actually more important to use those hours efficiently and properly. That is the most important rather than the amount. So let's dive in. What is proper, right? What is the proper process? So step one is to actually have a very focused practice. So if you're just, think about anything, think about any sport, athlete, business, Mongol, right? Or big entrepreneur, right? They basically have persistence, but they also are very focused in what they do. So that means that there's a continuous learning process. They try to improve, they try to find new ways, and then they have the breakthrough and they go with that. They build on that, they improve on that. So it's a consistent, constant improvement, and that process is very deliberate. It's a very focused. It's not something like, okay, I'll open the charts in trading, of course, and I'll just look a bit around. No, it's actually using the concepts that you use and then testing them and then improving them and learning and building that experience, but very focused. The second part is, what do you focus on, right? Because that's a big difference. If you're focusing on moving average crossovers, I don't think that will give you too much benefit. So if you do 10,000 hours of practicing crossovers, I don't think that that's going to be the experience that makes you successful. What will make you successful? I think the number one tip I can give is learning price patterns. That is the most critical part of trading. In my view, this is, if there is any holy grail, it is learning price patterns. It is not, because it does, although it seems simple, right? It is not that simple, in fact. It does take training to do it well, and it does take a lot of practice to understand how to trade them. So the first step, though, is recognizing patterns, recognizing how they play out, how they develop, how they break, how they move, and then, of course, how to trade it, where's the best entries and stuff like that. Price patterns are often the missing link once systems start to fail. Trading systems typically do well for a while because the pattern of the market is built in such a way that the system fits within that. But when the patterns break down and change, the system often then struggles, and the trader doesn't know why. So learning price patterns, here you see a couple of examples of break, pullback, continue patterns, right, is really the blueprint, is the roadmap that you can use for tackling, analyzing, and trading the charts. And I just want to give you a few examples so you have maybe a bit better idea what I'm talking about. We're talking about impulsive and corrective patterns. We're talking about chart patterns, wave patterns, divergence patterns, candlestick patterns, fractal patterns. I won't dive into all of these, explaining what they exactly are. I think most of you know what they are, and if not, you can always look on our YouTube channel and try to find more info about these. But these patterns, these are the 6 main ones in my view. There are many patterns that are really not that relevant, right? There are some patterns you might discover that the 5th candle after each 6th candle after a sports match has lost, we have 90% chance that that is not a pattern that is based on reality. That is just coincidence. We're talking about real time-proved patterns, market patterns that have played out and repeat and that bring balance to our trading system, right? Because we know when ranges end, when trends start, we recognize when the trends will continue or reverse. We're able to spot whether support or resistance will break or hold. Because without these patterns, what will happen at support? What will happen at resistance? Will the trend continue? These concepts of trend reverse, range, support or resistance are useful, but the patterns are what give life to that chart. Without it, we don't know what to do, what to expect with the trend and support or resistance. It just doesn't have the same value if we do use these patterns. The chart patterns give us an indication of continuation or reversals. They're extremely important. And if you use those patterns, we think that you'll be skipping a lot of effort. You can see the effort curve often goes up. You know, at the beginning you think it's easy. Then a lot of effort goes into it. After a few years you're doing a lot of effort, but your knowledge is growing too, but the effort too, right? Then you realize that you have to simplify it. You choose the things that make sense. So then you actually put less effort. And that's how the learning curve goes. You think it's simple at the beginning, and at the end it is simple, but you know that learning curve is there. So I think if you learn patterns, you'll be able to shortcut that process and make it more efficient. Now, after that, it's important to find your niche, right? Where do you focus on? Regarding trading, regarding entries and exits. You want to have a very rules-based approach or more a market structure approach. You know, Nennet could be a good example with his CAN-MACD system, very rules-based, right? And perhaps you like more waves that are more flexible. That's my system, SWOT system. So Nennet and I both have, in that regard, in this step, slight variance, and you can choose. That's good. So you have a choice. You can choose your niche, whether you do that with us as a mentor or with someone else, or just learn it on yourself. Of course, learning on yourself does take a little bit more time. That's a choice you have to make, but at least you know the phases and the steps to expect. Wish you all great trading. Please check out elitecurrency.com for more info, and talk to you soon. Cheers.